All right, welcome back to another episode of the Uncinched podcast, where we uncinch what's really going on in the horse industry. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different. As you may remember from our trailer or OG episode, which feels like
forever
ago, we have segmented our episodes to center around different themes. And some of those themes have been barn talks, which are meant to be informative and as well to give actionable and practical advice to our listeners. Others have been guest interviews where we bring people from all different corners of the horse world to give you an idea of just how diverse and multifaceted the industry is. And we also have an audience-driven section called the Uncinched Confessions, where we ask you, our listeners, a question and have you answer anonymously to have conversation and showcase just how multifaceted and diverse the horse industry is. Mm-hmm. But last but not least, we have a guts and glories section where we discuss some of the best parts of the industry and some of the shitty parts too. And lucky for you guys, today is one of those episodes where we talk about some of the shitty things.
Yep.
The not so positive things that affect our industry, unfortunately, kind of get swept under the rug. And we feel personally don't get talked enough about. And we feel there's a lot of growth and a lot of learning to be done when you shine lights on the maybe hidden corners of the horse world. So today might get a little bit uncomfy, but hopefully from this uncomfort, we get a little bit more growth and conversation, and hopefully that turns into some change in the horse industry, which I know I am
all for,
and I know Britton is too. So buckle the fuck up.
Well, now that we've made it sound scary, we're gonna throw it back a little bit. Today we're diving into a topic we think of a lot and stuff that we've discussed behind the scenes often. And honestly, it's one that seems to be coming up more and more in other conversations just naturally. So you'll hear people say sometimes the horse industry is dying, or nobody wants to be in horses anymore. Maybe things like things just aren't the way they used to be. And while those statements might seem very negative, they do raise some very important questions regarding our industry.
And some of those questions are, is the industry actually shrinking? Why are some people leaving? Why does it feel harder more now than ever for newcomers to get involved in the horse industry? And what responsibility do we have as horse people to make sure that the industry continues to grow? We want to have a real conversation about the challenges facing the horse industry today, from rising costs and accessibility issues to community culture, and honestly, just the way we choose to treat one another in the industry.
But more importantly, we also want to talk about some solutions. And it's easy to point out what's wrong. It's really easy to just say, hey, this sucks. It's much harder, and honestly, it's a lot more productive too, to have a conversations of how we can make things better and what we can do to help grow our industry and combat some of these challenges.
But before we jump too far into this deep, spicy, perhaps, topic, we wanted to give a huge thank you to our podcast's official photographer, GrabMane Photography.
Whoop, whoop.
The horse industry is built on stories, and few people capture these moments better than GrabMane. Thank you, Brooke.
We appreciate you so much. At the end of the day, every one of us wants the same thing. We want a thriving horse community, healthy businesses, and successful professionals and opportunities for the next generation of horse people so that they can also fall in love with horses the same way we did. So whether you've been involved with horses for a lifetime or you're just dipping your toes in, we're glad you're here. Let's start having the conversation about the future of the horse industry, what we think needs to change, and how we can all be a part of building something much stronger and healthier.
Woo! Okay, so let's maybe dive in a little bit more on why the horse industry is sinking, or why at least does it feel like it is. There are a few factors that we are going to discuss or explain our thoughts on why, especially in Canada, the industry feels like it's stagnating and growing smaller. While we don't ever think the horse industry or horse sport in general will ever go away entirely, at least we hope not, there are some very real challenges that are putting pressure on it and making it harder for people to participate, stay involved, and build careers around horses. The first one we want to talk about, and one of the biggest factors, is simply the cost. Mm-hmm. Owning horses has never been cheap. We all know this. We all fell for it. But it feels like we're seeing expenses climb in every single direction at the same time right now. We recognize that everyone is impacted by the current state of our global economy. And right now, for most of us, money is tight. Mm-hmm. Prices for everything keep going up. Money feels like it leaves your account before it even gets there. Things like feed costs, board, services like farriers, body workers, and veterinarians all have gone up substantially in the last, I'd say, 5 years. Not to mention the cost of fuel is crazy, especially if you drive a big, sexy diesel truck, because you've got to haul these ponies around. What's even more devastating is that many people's incomes, unfortunately, haven't increased at the same rate as costs for everything have. So therefore, horses have kind of taken a big impact on what people can just afford at the end of the day.
Yeah, so while having horses has always required a bit of a financial sacrifice to a certain extent for everybody, for many people that sacrifice is becoming harder and harder to justify or even just sustain. While we want that, it's the sustainability of choosing, are we making ends meet or owning horses in some of the ways? And these things are not just affecting horse owners, but horse professionals as well. When horse owners have less discretionary income, horse professionals are affected. It's a ripple effect that's felt throughout the entire industry. Not only are their services not being used as frequently by the owners, leading to loss of income that way, but their costs of operations are also going up and increasing, which is creating basically a double-edged sword for anybody who is a professional within this industry. I know personally I travel to clients, either their boarding facilities or their homes, and the cost of fuel is absolutely obliterating me because I have clients all the way from Edmonton, Calgary, more down by Lloyd, and those things, like, I'm in a fairly big vehicle, but it's not like a diesel big sexy truck, thank God. Which is why I didn't get one. But it's still costing me like hundreds of dollars per tank. And so it gets really expensive really fast. And I'm not afraid to admit things have felt a lot tighter for me as a professional, especially when it comes to gas. I'm trying to maintain my prices and keep them the same as they are now for my clients to not add financial pressure to anyone. But on the same coin, it does come at a cost to myself. And I'm not saying that so you feel bad for me or anything, because that's not what I'm meaning. I'm just trying to make it very clear that the reality is me being able to keep my prices lower by not adding to your financial burden does also mean that I'm taking less home. Because my insurance has gone up, my own bills have gone up, car maintenance has gone up, and just horse expenses of my own have gone up. So it's one of those things where a lot of these professionals, they're not trying to add to your financial burden, and they're not trying to add more to you, but they also need to be able to make a living.
Totally. And we've seen people scale back, sell horses they've never wanted to part with, leave their competition circuits, delay lessons, clinics, or opportunities simply because they had to prioritize the basics. Mm-hmm. And lots of people don't want to discuss that, but there shouldn't be any shame in sharing that this is the current reality for many, maybe most people. Money is one of the biggest stressors facing horse owners right now, and, well, people in general. People feel embarrassed to talk about it. They feel like they're falling if they're struggling financially, when the reality is shit is just getting really expensive, and it's quite hard for anybody to keep up.
Yeah, one thing we've learned is that sometimes the first step isn't necessarily making more money, but instead understanding where your money is actually going. Because sometimes it feels like it's just going down that drain. Horses have a way of nickel and diming us and kicking us when we're down.
Yep.
Well, we mentioned this a lot on the podcast. The financial demand of the sport and hobby is a lot, and it's something that we need to consider as an industry as a whole. That's one of the reasons we also did create a resource called the Uncinched Digital Expense Tracker and Workbook. That was a lot of words all at once. We wanted something that helps horse owners see the full picture, not to make anyone feel guilty about spending money on their horses, because we all have to, but to help you understand their expenses, identify any of your spending patterns, and make informed decisions based on your spending. When money feels like it's leaving your account before it even arrives, having a clear understanding of your finances becomes even more important. So the expense tracker was created specifically for horse owners in mind. It's designed by us equestrians here for equestrians. So it's meant as a way to help you track and understand where you're actually spending your money. The product includes a monthly income and expense tracker that you fill out yourself, an equine related expense breakdown so you can see where you're spending your money and on which horse is costing you the most, which vet bill is going up, and then your savings and debt log, because the reality is most of us carry debt, especially if you're in the industry, just simply because of the cost of trailers, infrastructure, and the horses themselves, especially if you compete. Those buggers are expensive. Mm-hmm. So we do often have a debt log, and it's okay to have that. It's just how do we manage it, and being able to see, where we're adding to it and when we're taking money off is really important, as well as knowing that sometimes we still have to make sure we have savings. So these are the reasons we added those. And then you can also have our annual summary sheet where you put in at the end of the month what everything was into your annual piece, and you can track for the whole year exactly where you were spending money and maybe know your patterns a little bit better of, is that horse going to founder every winter, or what's kind of going on that way. This is just something that we wanted to help you with your day-to-day. Click and go to our show notes, or you can go into our link tree and go into the shop section and get that for yourself if that's something that you want.
Would recommend it, especially if you're a type B person like myself. And if you're a visual person, I find it's really nice to see everything. It's just check it out. It's
just about building the habits.
Totally. And knowing where your money is going. While finances are a huge piece of this conversation, they're not the only challenge. Even if someone can afford horses, there are still barriers that make it difficult to get involved or stay involved.
The next thing that we found is a big barrier is just time and lifestyle. People are working longer hours because of the financial strains. The cost of living has gone up, so we have to work that much harder and that much more. And that's adding to us having less and less time to be able to spend time with our horses. And a lot of that then translates with people into going, well, I can't spend time with them, so I can't own them. And we understand on both sides. I think I felt that way a little bit, especially lately. I've been doing a lot to try and maintain just regular life and expenses and my horses. But it has meant that I have a little less room to be able to just go out and spend time with my own horse. And it's affected me. I work with horses every day, and I get a chance to work with my horse in a lot of capacities. And so I can't even really imagine a lot of the people who are not in the same situation as me now also having to make these massive commutes to spend time. I'm very lucky. I have my barn very close to me, but a lot of people are making these massive commutes when it comes to taking time out of their day. And so a half hour doesn't seem that long until it's like, oh, it's a half hour there and back. it's a half hour there and then a half hour back. So that's actually an hour. And you have to tack up and you have to ride and you have to do all these things. And so it ends up being actually more like 2.5 hours typically that you need at minimum. And so that 2.5 hours, finding that time, it can be very difficult.
And I mean, I joke about this lots, but people have families. If you have kids, they're a large commitment. And when you have a horse, they are also a large commitment. And normally the horse is what ends up taking the back burner on that side of the spectrum. Another thing is just accessibility challenges. And this is maybe one of the more spicier things, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk a little bit about the horse community culture, because I know we all have been exposed to kind of how toxic it can be. And one of the things that I don't think people talk about enough is how scrutinized beginner horse people get from experienced horse people.
Yes.
I think a lot of people forget that we were once all beginners. We all started somewhere. Many people do enter horses later in life. I know a lot of people will grow up with horses their whole life and then compare themselves to someone who got into horses maybe a little bit later in life, or to someone who wasn't raised around horses. And people seem to kind of make people who are new to horses or aren't as knowledgeable or aren't as experienced, make them feel like they don't belong or they're not
or they're
enough.
Less than.
Yeah.
I see that a lot, where I think we've all experienced it.
Totally.
Where there's been some bitchy lady or grump of a cowboy coming up to you and thinking that they can talk down to you because they've done this and that. And I'm a horse professional. I do this for a living, and I have had people come up to me and treat me like I know nothing. And so it's one of those things that we need to, as a community, buck off. Like, this needs to be done. We can't have people coming in here all the time and being cranky and rude and mean. Because how do we want an area to grow like our industry when it's already getting smaller simply through the other barriers? Why do we need to, as people, create an extra barrier where people feel unwelcomed and they feel pressure from everyone else that they're not good enough? And that's wrong. Like we said, everybody is a beginner. Everyone is learning from somewhere. And just because you grew up with it doesn't mean you know everything. There are many things that I have learned over the last few years that I grew up around horses that I have learned we should not do because it was just something we always did. And now that I know better, I can change that behavior. And I think that's something we also need to talk about. You are allowed to grow, and you should always allow somebody to reintroduce themselves to you because a person they were 5 years ago may not be the person they are today. And that's okay because growth is important. So enough of this council culture. Then that gets us into the next segment.
The next one is pretty new to us, and I think society as a whole is learning how to adapt to this, but social media and shame culture is another thing that is killing our industry. You have literal public shaming. You're doing anything. You're walking in the street. Some guy videotapes you and is like, whoa, this dude's wearing Vans. A dude who killed someone wore Vans. Therefore, this person is a killer. Like, we have that going on. It's a very real It's a very real thing.
We laugh about it, but it's true. It's true.
You've got keyboard warriors. We have perfection culture. We have highlight reel culture. And social media has great power and can do a lot of positive things, but it also has the power to kill an industry. And in a lot of ways, it's been doing that. We kind of talk about this and we joke around about the TikTok tweens who love to hate on us, but behavior like people online has gotten so out of hand, and it makes it for beginners or professionals or whatever. People see videos or post videos and can take things way, way, way out of context, and it gives the industry as a whole, it sheds it on a bad light. And then people who are in the same community feel so comfortable because they're behind a screen to scrutinize, to judge, to publicly shame. I don't know how many posts I've seen on Facebook in the last 6 months of someone having a bad experience with a business and them posting about it and it going absolutely viral, and that affecting that business's affecting the business as a whole. And like, not to say that bad experiences don't happen and that it needs to be sometimes brought to people's attention, but it just seems to be as soon as anyone's inconvenienced or anything, that people are going to...
They're going out of their way to create harm.
Yes.
I think that's the big thing. It's not just about... We all have shitty experiences sometimes. Sometimes somebody treats you poorly and, yeah, you want to say something about it. And we're not saying that you should take abuse or take anything like that. However, it is important that we realize our words matter. How we write things matters. And professionally, people see that. People see what you are posting. People see what you are writing. And it does affect your ability for jobs. It does affect your ability to find friends. It does affect your ability to stay in the community. But as a whole, like, when it comes to businesses, just because you're inconvenienced doesn't mean it's the business's fault necessarily. And also your lack of knowledge on a topic and then you making a post about it and letting other people flood the comments or flood in who also have a lack of knowledge, dogpiling, like we say, and creating these very harsh words for said business that may not be deserved is one of the things we see. Or where these beginners are watching this TikTok, you know, and they're like, oh, that girl looks like she rode really well, and then go see the comments. Then they go to
the comment section, and everyone's like, you're fat, you're stupid, blah, blah, blah.
And all this, it makes people not want to...
It's discouraging.
Yeah.
It doesn't make anyone want to participate.
Absolutely.
Because everyone's criticizing you, even if you're just trying to learn.
And it translates outside of social media, too, because people worry that, oh, what if they video me? Because... that's happening where you're just having a good time and some random person starts videoing you and posts it. Well, what if that happens to me? What if I'm at the barn and this happens? You know, that, and then things getting taken out of context. We see that a lot in social media because you see 3 seconds and you assume you know the entire situation when you don't. And we don't give grace anymore to acknowledge, like, maybe that horse has been bucking the entire way and this is the only option that they had. Or maybe they were having a really rough go and that's why they fell off in this really small moment because actually the horse was rearing earlier and then you just see this 3 seconds. And we make these snap judgments that are entitled. They are entitled because we think we know when we don't. And we need to give people more grace. And that's why we say this shame culture that is surrounding social media, it's killing us. And the other thing is that highlight reel. We are seeing oftentimes, you know how we've all seen like the equestrian shopping haul where it's like, come to the barn with me with my brand new saddle pad that's blue that matches my breeches that are blue.
Come unpack my Hermes saddle.
Yes. And while there are rich people in the sport, we all know that.
I want an Hermes saddle, but
you're seeing only those things a lot of times, and it makes people feel like, you know, the fact that they went to a secondhand store is wrong, or the fact that they only have 2 saddle pads instead of 1 for every day of the week, or in every color of the rainbow, that also is this different set of reins that's every color of the rainbow. It makes you feel like you're doing something wrong, and you're not. You're not doing something wrong. It's not normal to have a saddle pad for each day of the week. It's not. Some people have the income to be able to do that, and that is great. That's fantastic for them, and that's okay for them to have it. But you shouldn't be putting yourself in debt or feeling the need to be in the same position as everyone else. It's not normal. Mm-hmm. It's not normal to have, you know, an Hermes grooming kit that costs $5,000. That's not normal.
No.
I don't want to spend $9 on the brush because I know he's going to wreck it. So it's really important that we're taking a moment to see that lens that social media is putting on our industry and going, this isn't normal. Mm-hmm. This isn't everybody. Mm-hmm. This is the 1%.
Mm-hmm. And why am I comparing myself to that? It's just, you end up getting into a pit of like...
despair.
Yeah, pit of despair.
Dun, dun, dun.
But it's true. Like, what is the saying? Comparison is the thief of joy.
Oh, yes.
And so right now we are comparing ourselves to literally everybody. Mm-hmm. Your neighbors, the influencer who lives in the same city as you, the influencer or celebrity who lives in California. Like, they're all kind of put on the same level and shown in the same amount with mm-hmm. algorithms and all that jazz nowadays. And it like, it's doing stuff to our heads. I know it's doing stuff to my head.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I know we feel it's really important to just like acknowledge that as an industry as a whole. When you, next time you see, I'm sure our phones are listening to us right now. Now we're going to get like Hermes saddle videos.
Neither of us have ever been to Hermes.
Yeah, don't write English. But it's a real thing. And I think a lot of times, like, we don't even consciously realize how much comparison we're doing with each other and how big of a toll it does take on, you know, at the end of the day, the joy that you feel when you're around your horse, you know?
With that being said, let me de-influence you for a second. I have a fairly decent social media presence, and lots of people talk to me about how I'm doing all of these big things. Yeah, but people don't see the emails I'm sending behind the screen, the days that I'm wondering if I'm going to make my bills. People don't see the money that I might be spending to go to a certain event to make sure I can network. I want to bring that to your attention, because if you are looking at us and thinking, oh my God, they have all this, you know, we have bad days too.
Oh, yeah.
We are a highlight reel because we're a brand. Mm-hmm. And part of that brand is making sure everything's happy and making sure that you guys feel included. But there are days we have hard days. Mm-hmm. And I just want to make it known that we're not coming from a place of saying we don't feel the same way. I have watched many reels or many social media of other body workers, trainers, professionals, or just horse owners in general, and felt envy, where I'm like, man, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm not there, and I'm not strong enough, and I'm not good enough. And I think it's important to acknowledge that, and telling you on my behalf that I feel the same way. And I have seen those things, and I have shamed myself from seeing other people's highlights and gone, wow, they had access to this. I love that for them, but I also feel envious. And I also feel like maybe I'm not good enough now because I don't have the same options. You're not alone in those feelings, and it's okay to have them, as long as we acknowledge where they're coming from and find our way out of it. And don't just, like we said, sit in that pit of despair of like... Sorry, if you saw Taya right now, she just went and did a dead face. And
I went into the pit of despair.
And I don't even know where I was going anymore. But there, she got us out of the pit of despair. It didn't become overly heavy. And I think that's important. And you need to talk to your friends. And you need to have a community behind you. And you need to have people outside of the screen. You have to. You have to. Because otherwise, you will get these blinders on like a draft horse. Mm-hmm. And you won't see what's going on around you.
And you lose yourself.
Absolutely.
You lose yourself. But before we get into the next section, we want to acknowledge one of our sponsors and our official photographer, Grab Mane Photography. If you know the feel of reins in your hands and the quiet bond between horse and rider, then you know some moments can't be put into words. That's where Grab Mane Photography comes in. Specializing in equine and Western lifestyle photography, Grab Mane captures the spirit of the horse, the heart of the rider, and the beauty of life lived close to the land. From barnyard candids to golden hour gallops, every single frame tells a story, one of connection and authenticity. And right now, podcast listeners get 25% off their first session. Whether it's you and your horse, your family photos on the ranch, or just a fun photo shoot idea, Grab Mane has got you covered. Just visit the Grab Mane Photography website in the link through our show notes and mention the code Uncinched 2026 when you reach out. So let's crawl out of the pit of despair. And let's talk about, we have talked about the things that are killing our industry, but let's talk about what grows the industry and how we can counteract
a positive impact.
Yeah, how can we counteract what's going on and make a positive impact? Because at the end of the day, I want horses, and I know Britton wants horses, and I know you who's listening too want horses and the horse industry to be thriving for generations to come. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't happen without effort on all of our parts. So the first thing we want to talk about is mentorship. So mentorship is kind of a big, broad word, but specifically when it comes to mentorship is making sure that if you're an experienced horse person, that if you have the ability to, is to take newcomers under your wing and to offer advice, knowledge, if they ask and if they are consenting
and
to
opportunity.
And give them opportunities and offer knowledge. If you're one of those people who beginners get on your nerves, I would challenge you to actually try and spend some time with beginners and test your own knowledge by attempting to teach and help someone else grow some roots in the industry. Doesn't take a hell of a lot of effort. You can literally just answer questions kindly and to the best of your knowledge, offer support. And I think one of the biggest things that often gets forgotten is to lead by example. Mm-hmm. So many people, I think, feel like they have to be telling all the things and doing all the things, and sometimes that could come across as a little bit intense, especially for someone who's insecure or someone who's new. And I think one of the best things that we can do, and I mean, there's a parallel to horsemanship here too, if you look really, really deep into it, is to lead by example. And if you do as you would like to do or as you see fit, other people notice it, especially if you're around a lot of beginners. It's just be how you want other people to be, and usually it's pretty infectious.
On that same note, just as a clarification, when people say leadership and mentorship, that doesn't mean that you're telling people what to do either. It's not that you're in charge. Mm-hmm. You are giving people an opportunity to learn, and they can choose to use the knowledge you give them however they choose, and that can feel frustrating, but you are not in charge of someone, and you don't talk down to them because you know something.
That's a really good point.
I just want to make sure that's clear.
Yes.
Mentorship does not mean I know more, I'm going to talk down to you. It means I'm giving you the option, and you can choose to take the hand or not.
That's a super great point, because no one likes a condescending
asshole.
Some people need to hear that.
Yep. And we see it a lot in leadership, just in general. You know that manager that you really hate because all they do is micromanage you and make you feel like you don't know anything and make you feel less than? Don't be that person. That's not mentorship. All right. Another thing we can do is collaborate with each other. This is especially important amongst trainers and professionals and body workers and everyone in the industry who is a professional. We don't need to compete. There is room for every one of us, and not our ideal a client may not be their ideal client, and that's okay. You can share. Collaboration is what builds us. And I think as the industry has shrunk, we have as professionals gotten nervous that our clientele is going to leave us. We're not going to make ends meet because we don't have as much opportunity anymore. And that has translated into a competitive world amongst people in our own industry. We gatekeep. We start getting angry at our clients if they use somebody else.
We badmouth other people without actually knowing who they are.
Yep. Or if somebody enters the barn that isn't you, it's an immediate aggression.
Yeah.
And there's no need. There's no need for it. Your clients will find you. The ones who want to be with you will be with you. There is opportunity for everyone. It may look a little different, but you do not have to bash each other to make your business. If anything, you will ruin your business. It may not be immediate, but you will suffer from creating competition amongst your own kind in the sense of your business or even outside your business. I know lots who are like, let's say body workers who are mean to their clients, actively mean to them.
That's insane.
They make them feel less than and tell them, oh, this is where you're failing. And the way they say it isn't informatory. Informatory? What's the word?
Laboratory.
Do you know what I'm saying? Informative. Words. Informative, but instead condescending and rude. And it makes them nervous and they won't use you. They'll stop using you. And then what? What just happened here? The other thing is work with other people in your industry that may not be like a direct competition with you. You can work with a trainer. Hi, hello, Taya. I'm not a trainer, but we work very closely together and we share each other's stuff. We try and make sure that we're building each other and having the conversations when they're not in the room. You can do that with other people in the industry. Share referrals, talk about it, share knowledge. You're not going to know everything.
And another thing I want to bring up too, as someone who seeks services from equine professionals, if you see someone, like let's say your trainer, someone you're working with, body worker, if they treat you poorly, just because they allegedly or they might know more than you, if you do not agree with the treatment and how they handle themselves and how they talk about people, don't continue to do business with them.
Yeah, and you don't have to.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to because everyone else does.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a kind of a bit of a part where people are like, so-and-so is an asshole, but they're really good at what they do. I'm sorry, but that's not enough anymore. You need to be a good person who leads their life well.
Make sure they have the same values as you.
Absolutely. And don't support someone if they treat you poorly or if they treat other people poorly or if they talk down upon other people and you don't think it's justified. And I think what professionals seem to forget is, you can talk down to the people who know less than you, but at the end of the day, they're the ones paying your bills.
Exactly.
So you better treat everyone with respect, with kindness, and be damn careful about what you say about other people, especially as other professionals in the industry, because it might be your time to be on the podium, but as we all know, in the horse industry, it doesn't last so long, and you end up in the pit of despair.
And it is a small world.
It is a very small world.
Everybody talks. Everybody talks. So making sure that you're putting yourself out there in a way that you feel good about.
Absolutely.
Be the person you want to be, not what people think you should be.
And choosing to take your business too, and this is everyone as a whole, to people who you agree with, their philosophy and their education, but also who they are as people. Because at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of not so nice people have kind of ruled the industry with a lot of condescending, I'm the shit values.
And bullshit. Straight up bullshit.
And I think people forget that they have the power.
Yeah. You have the power to make the decision of who you want to see succeed, especially as an owner who's using services. You don't like that person, don't use them. You love that person, support them. Like their stuff. Share it. make sure that you're talking to other people, referring them. Those are things are how you can build the industry you want to see.
So don't forget your impact. Even if you're small, even if you're a beginner, who you choose to go to and who you choose to support has a way larger impact than I think really any of us realize. The next thing that we want to talk about in things that we can do that can help grow the industry is give each other grace. And this is from all the way from beginner all the way to someone who's been doing this for over 40 years professionally. We need to normalize that there's learning curves in all aspects of horsemanship. If you know a lot about technical riding and dressage, you don't know very much about technical riding and reining, or there's so much knowledge. We can't all know everything. And so it's really important to just normalize that learning is always happening. And with that, mistakes are normal. Businesses make mistakes. We're all human at the end of the day. We need to normalize that mistakes are okay in most capacities and they happen. And as long as you're choosing to learn from them and move forward, we don't need to scrutinize people when they fuss up or when they trip up, because I think a lot of times I've seen it happen where someone does make a mistake, and it can be of ill intention in the moment, but as long as you're willing to learn and grow and move forward, we need to give more people grace when they make mistakes. And if someone asks you questions, to also be respectful and give them grace too, and give them kudos for having the courage to ask these questions, because it takes a lot of nerve to ask someone more knowledgeable than you something, or to basically admit that you don't know a lot about something. So if someone ever does come up to you and asks you a question about something, don't ever scrutinize them. Kindly answer to the best of your ability. It kind of costs $0.00.
Exactly. And with that, like, give people grace when they're riding too. You don't know their situation. Half the time we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They may be off balance, but they're trying, or they're learning. They may be like me, where they have a permanent disability that makes them off kilter. They might also be like me and have had procedures that are, making them very sore, and they're just getting on their horse, and it's okay that they're just getting on their horse. Give people grace. You do not know people's situations, and allow people to grow. Allow them to prosper. Don't diminish people. Let them plant the seed and grow. You should be the watering can. You should be the watering can.
And we also feel like this is an important thing to remember, is that horse people, cowboys, cowgirls, equestrians, every single one is unique and different. Horse people can come from ranching backgrounds, pleasure backgrounds, equine therapy, showing, photography, nutrition, bodywork, tack fitting, media, breeding, veterinary medicine, content creation. Horse people are so multifaceted, and just because one person's cup of tea isn't yours doesn't mean that person still isn't really knowledgeable in their niche. Yeah. And so it's really important to acknowledge that there is no one-size-fits-all token equestrian or cowgirl. Horse people are diverse and multifaceted, and it's just so important to remember that when you are out in the industry and out in the world, that just because someone knows a little bit less than you in a certain aspect does not mean that they are less than you. And also on the flip side, just because someone knows more about one topic than you doesn't make them more knowledgeable or more authoritative than you. Take things as face value and don't underestimate where you come from and your background, because that makes you uniquely you. And at the end of the day, you don't want to be a cookie cutter of everybody else.
It's not a one size fits all.
No, not at all.
That's one of the great things about us, actually, as a community, is we are vastly different with so many different avenues. You can go into reining, you can go into show jumping, you can do both of those with the same horse or with different horses. it's just one of those things that we are allowed to be multifaceted. We are allowed to be inclusive and still be doing different things. And with that, we have a really big announcement. So we really want to be a part of the solution here. We want to grow. We want to celebrate the diverse people in the horse world. And we want people to be able to come together from any aspect of the horse world and find their people. With that in mind, Taya and I have decided to do something pretty big. We've decided we want to create a room for all the horse people and the entire horse community. You heard that right. Whether you are new to the sport or you've been in it your whole life, whether you're a show jumper, an endurance rider, reiner, or just someone who loves leisurely trail rides, you are welcome in our space and you are welcome in our community. We are currently in the process of creating a live podcast and community event. The idea behind it is to create a positive, collaborative evening for anyone and everyone in any facet of the horse industry to network and find community and grow together.
This event is meant for horse enthusiasts, professionals in the industry, so photographers, trainers, veterinarians, farriers, body workers, nutritionists, you name it. If you're a professional in the industry, we would love to have you as part of our event. This is also for aspiring professionals.
Absolutely.
Horse owners, people who love horses, and people who are wanting to connect with new friends and professionals in the horse world. We're still in the planning phases, and many of the event details are still being finalized. But if this event speaks to you, and if you'd like to stay informed as plans develop, please be sure to join our email list through the show notes.
We are also actively seeking sponsors and community partners who believe in the vision and want to help bring this event to life and bring it to the community. If your business is interested, whether you are big or small, we are impartial. Trust us. We love working with everyone. If this is something that interests you and being a part of the Uncinched Community Social sounds like the right option for you, we would love to connect, hear your ideas, and see how we can work together. Please do reach out to us via email or our social media for any more information, or if you just want to chat about how you might be able to get involved. With that being said, we've come to the end of our episode. I think this was very informative and gave us a lot of food for thought of how we can do better. And if we can leave you with one message, try and find little ways you can be the light that is in this community. And with that, we want to also thank our sponsor again, Grab Main Photography, who always brings the light into our little community.
We love Brooke. She's
we
the
do.
best.
All right. Have a great rest of your night, everybody. And bye.
Bye.